But I read your about your travel to the USA, and I really liked that comparison between how you wrote about the NBA and Europe. So could you please also say a little bit what stood out for you when you went there and when you wrote that reflective post?
For sure, we have more time because we don't travel that much. We play less. EuroCup, as I mentioned, is finished. To be very honest, I think the best moment for me was getting a chance. I can talk a lot what we won and what we didn't, but in general, the first idea that comes to my mind is that the president and the former general manager of the club, they took me from a regular job and gave a chance to work in the club, in the sport of basketball that I always wanted.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Basketball, Body, and Mind. Today, we are joined by Lukas Grabauskas. Lukas currently is the sport director at Basketball Club Lietkabelis, a club competing in both Lithuanian Basketball League and in EuroCup. Moreover, Lukas recently took time to observe and visit NBA organizations and see how do they function from the inside. So he has insights from behind the scenes of basketball operations to what players need to do to catch attention of professional clubs and eventually sign. Lukas, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here. Hello.
Yes, Lukas, let's start from the basics. Maybe some of the players, they know about the head coaches, they know about the assistant or strength conditioning coaches, but what does sport director actually do in a professional club, meaning day-to-day, in-season preparation? What do you do?
Well, it depends a lot of the club actually. Let's say we are a pretty small organization, so those responsibilities are pretty wide because, for example, if the management team talks about some, I don't know, logistics, merchandise, whatever, all those, kind of things which are out of basketball, we discuss it together. So I cannot say that there is only like a sports part and there is nothing else in Lietkabelis.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, I know my responsibilities. I was basically growing to that sports director position, through many years, and now I got the opportunity, got the chance to be named the sports director and focus more on the sports side. So my, let's say, typical work depends a lot on the timing. Depends, we play Europe that time or we don't play, and so on. So let's say when we finished EuroCup, my main focus went to seeing the process of the practices, watching it, scouting the players, talking a lot to the agents, to the other basketball people, getting information about the maybe future players of our club. And right now it's more and more basketball from outside for me, let's say.
So
if the first part of the season was a big focus to what's happening now, so right now, okay, I still keep the same focus, but for sure we have more time because we don't travel that much. We play less. EuroCup, as I mentioned, is finished. So right now I try to focus a lot on the next year. I have the list of the players that I'm checking. I'm talking to agents. I'm watching lots of videos, getting information about the players, and discussing a lot with my colleagues what direction we have to choose. What if we keep the same player? What if we have to sign the new player? Which pairs matches and so on. So basically, it's tough to tough to say the definition which describes everything, because as I mentioned from the beginning that, we are pretty small and we share a lot of other responsibilities. But yeah, let's say it depends on the timing and the focus is like that right now.
Yes. So you have to have a vision to see where the team is going. At the same time, you have to, I mean, head coach also, but you also have to build the team. I believe also coaching staff, right? You would be
Yes, I
responsible
mean,
for that.
yes. Let's say you mentioned about the vision. So the vision starts not only from the office people. There is a president, there is a coach, long-term coach who has 7 years. So for sure he knows, the culture, everything
Yes.
around, and okay, it's me, it's general manager. I mean, a lot of people involved in that to have the vision. And you are taking a part of that vision, and then doing your best to create a product which is created by all of us, not only by some of the people.
Yes, exactly. I want to say that there are so many people behind the scenes that we see like coaches, players, and that's it. But you have to understand that there are so many different roles inside of the club. But you mentioned about scouting new players or young players or maybe older players. But from your perspective, how is it possible for a young player to catch attention of a professional club? For example, for you, or is it mostly done through agents that agents contact the clubs? How can you get no? How can?
For how young?
Let's
For
say
how
he
young?
is 18 to 19 years old, like 1 or 2 years before turning senior.
Okay, let's talk by example. Let's say we had Paulius Morauskas 2 years ago. He was 18 that time. So for sure he had our attention, and for sure it was not the agent deal or some side deal, whatever. We just needed him as a player. But the reason why, because he was talented and we believe that he can give something for us.
Yes.
At this moment, let's say we don't have a junior team, yeah. We don't have the second team with a double license or whatever. You can take a young player, you put him in the second team, and let's say you give him a chance in the first one as well. So we don't have that luxury right now. So we have to be responsible not only about ourselves, how will we perform with the young kid, but about the young kid also. We are not the ones who will offer something for the young kid if we see that we cannot help him also, not only him.
Yes.
So, it's like a two-way process, how to say. And then getting back to your question, can he get the attention? For sure, we have examples that 18-year-old guy is playing and he's playing decent minutes, he's getting a role, he's learning, and then we have the opportunity to get something from him also.
Yes. Yes.
So that means that it's possible for sure. But when you don't have a second team, of course that number of players is smaller. Just it's logical.
Yes. So the player would need to be somehow, not say differently, but extraordinary good at something. For example, I don't know, like crazy good, let's say in dribbling or shooting. That would drag your, not drag, but that would you would pay attention to the player, and then you would think maybe he or she could. No, in this case, it's only he. He could help you, but also you see that our club, can develop him, and maybe you could get the benefit of him having on the team, or would you take, I don't know. No, you wouldn't take any average player if he is not extraordinary good at something, because you, as you said, you don't have a system right now to develop the young players.
Yes, but let's say now we sometimes invite the guy who is 18-year-old to the practices just to be together with the team to see how's everything going and to help us in some of the moments. He's playing in the other team in Lithuania, so he gets the minutes, and if the timing matches, we invite him just to be with the team. So that's also okay. He's not a member of the team, let's say he's not in our roster, but I believe that it's very valuable for him to be around, and it's good for us also to have him if the situation comes. Plus, as I told, we have that responsibility to help him. Not only he has to help us.
Yes.
So it depends a lot. And talking about youngsters, okay, we have right now the situation that all those youngsters, basically, okay, not all, but most of them, they are going to States. So it's also a gap, let's say, and then it's not that easy as it was.
Yes.
But that's our reality nowadays, and you have to adapt to that. That's
Yes.
it.
This is off the topic, but I see that I follow many of young Lithuanian players, but so many of them are changing the schools. So many of
Yes.
them. Like I see like Instagram, not every day, but like at least once a week that they are changing. And one agent told that he said the issue is that it seems that I'm not talking about anyone specifically, but the trend seems to be that they want to go for a little bit more money, but less playing time. But in the end, it hurts them. So even if we're not talking about the USA, but maybe if someone is choosing, would you agree with this? If somebody is choosing a team, that they would aim for playing time at young age rather than the money part or name of the club.
Mm, you know, uh, it's very tough question actually. Theoretically, choose you need this or you need this. But if I would be a father and my son would choose, or I would be a player and I would have to choose, I would see, okay, who's the coach, first of all? Uh, what are the facilities? Let's say, how much personal attention can I get there? Playing time. It's like a whole picture, which which is combined by the small details. So there is no, in my opinion, there is no playing time against the big club and practices. Maybe you can be in a big club and get some playing time in the junior team and be in the system and grow up with the players. Or it's no sense for you to be in that big club because in your position there are two, three other young guys who will get more attention and they are the priorities. So, playing time is important, yeah, but the process is also very important. So if you can find that golden middle, as I say, that could be, the option to choose. But every situation is different, and it's very tough to say what's better and what's not.
Yes, yes. This is often comes in my practice that parents, because I work with the young basketball players, and some of them would like to move to abroad, to some kind of academy. They go and see, but then they ask me what kind of questions do they need to ask the coaches. What do they need to pay attention to? And it's very interesting to hear your thinking process, that you would see who is the coach, how do the facilities look like. That I most of the time I would think more about the playing time, because I thought it's very important. But it's very interesting to hear your thinking process, how you see this situation.
I mean, I had the privilege to talk to Kasparas Jakučionis' father before he was going to Spain. I think he was talking to many people just to hear different opinions and to make the best possible decision for his son. And
Yes.
it's obvious that he made, so congratulations to him and his son. But I was asking, first of all, is the kid ready to leave home and go abroad? How about his school? can he combine studies and basketball? Who will work with him there individually? How about the food? Will he get the good treatment because he was leaving to Barcelona, I think when he was 15 or 16, something like that. I don't remember. But we were talking first of all the basic things, and then just after that we were going to the basketball topics. So
Yes.
in my opinion, okay, you will practice 4 hours per day, let's say, 5 hours maybe, even less. You'll have day offs, but all the other time you will have to live, and you'll have to develop yourself as a person, as a student. You must have a good surrounding, and that's it. What kind of people will be around you. That's very important also, and in my opinion, everything starts from that. And if I would be a recruiter, let's say if I work not in Lietkabelis but in the organization which focuses more not on the result but on the recruiting young players. First of all, I would start recruiting process showing that the environment for the kid is safe, not only for him but for his parents also, for the people who loves him. So, I think it starts from that, and after that we can go to the basketball thing.
Yes, very, very interesting, because I believe also it's very important that first you have to see them, you can say mental side, but all the other common things that we don't think about, like food, besides basketball. What will you do? You will need to be for 16, or as you said, like maybe you'll practice for 4 hours, but then the rest of 20, 18 hours of the day, you will need to be there. Are you able to live by yourself? This is, yes, and only then talk about basketball.
Yeah, but the answer can be very simple. Yes, I'm able to live by myself. All good. And I'm
Until
okay to
you
go
go
to
there.
the, yeah. I mean, you can have the one vision, and it can be completely opposite, from good side to bad side, or from the bad side to the good side. You never know, basically. But at least you have to be as much as possible ready for taking that step. And as a person, as I told, if I would be a father or if I would be a young player, for me it would be very important what kind of surrounding is around me, and what can I do also, being there. If I go, let's say, okay, let's take the example that club does not exist anymore. Many people were saying that, let's say, Pasvalys would be perfect for young people, because they can focus only on basketball, and they can, be 100% there. Maybe yes, but not for everyone. For example, for foreigner, there is no international school, so okay, what we do?
Yes.
It's like simple thing. Someone, he just needs to go out to take a walk, and then to see the different environment. For in Pasvalys, it's not that easy to see the different environment,
Yes.
most likely.
Yes.
So maybe for some of the people it would be okay, yeah, but for some not, and they can, why the foreigners are coming and going there? Because of that.
Yes.
So same to the young people also.
Yes. So now let's come back a little bit, because I like this topic. There are more things that I would like to talk with you, so I will just shift gears back a little bit to what I said our plan was. But I think this is very important, because we see those players going to the portal, or coming back from the Spain or from somewhere back to Lithuania because something was not good. So maybe it would be possible to, let's say, change this little bit before going to ask these questions. As you said, first check the human side before going into the basketball. But if you are interested in a player, to sign a new player, what kind of things do you try to find about the player? Is it only basketball, or are you interested also the off-court things, or how the player behave on the bench or during the practices? What kind of things you're researching about the player?
That's a good transition, actually. That's a good transition. Okay, I can talk only from
Yes, yes.
my club's perspective, but we can make mistakes. We can get even the information which is not true. We have the examples about that, but I would say that the mental side and the basketball side, the human side, it goes together. For sure, it goes together. Let's say, uh, I remember my first, second year in Lietkabelis when I was having, let's say, smaller role, and I was just starting scouting, starting getting information, and doing that kind of stuff. The beginning was that I was just getting the information about the player as a person. I was not going to the basketball at all. Okay, it was 6 years ago, 7 years ago, let's say like this. But it was a focus for me that, okay, my responsibility is to check, is he a right person? And I'm not talking about the player as a guy who should be like perfect human. No, that human has to fit in the whole picture of the team. So let's say like this. So getting back to nowadays, how I do now, of course, we start from basketball, what he can give on the court, what he cannot give on the court, but same amount of information I try to get about the player, about him as a person. I try to evaluate from the beginning from what kind of environment is he, with who he has worked, what kind of teammate he is, uh, what's his work ethic. Uh, I always ask the, let's say, question which is pretty strange and not usual, but I do. Does the player does the player have any strange habits? And they ask, what do you mean, strange habit? Just something that I don't know, but I should know in general. And believe me, most of the answers, of course, are no, but there are some cases that you cannot sign the player because of some, I don't know, random things. For example, I don't remember, it was last summer or 2 years ago. I was checking one player. He was a really, how to say, great on the court, but his strange habit was that he doesn't cut his nails, you know? And that's how it gets into, and he misses some games because of that. And for sure, you cannot sign him. It
Yes.
sounds so strange and so stupid, but it was a reality.
Yes.
And we had also, why that question came to me, we had one guy who was not a bad guy. I will not mention the name
Yes.
for sure, but he had some, how to say, strange things around him. And that time, we went through that. I mean, it was okay. He adapted. We had a good season, but it was sometimes a trigger. And then I started asking my contacts from who I was collecting information, why you didn't say me that he was doing this, this, and this? And he said, but you didn't ask me. You asked about the basketball. You asked how professional is he, how's his work ethic, and so on. Okay, that's true. So I better ask the question, does he have any strange habits?
Yes.
And
Just to know that.
just to know. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and in the end, I also like the question, what should I know that I don't know about him as a player and as a person? And it's also many interesting things coming from that question.
Yes.
So, you know.
It's interesting. This is not basketball related, but there was one businessman was saying that he also asked strange questions to see how people will react in that. And one question was for how much you could walk only backwards for a week. And one guy, and he said, I always see their response, what they say. Some of them will say millions, but one guy said, okay, 5,000, and the interviewer was going to write that check, and he's no, I'm kidding. He's like, I'm serious. And the reason why, he said, when we ask strange questions, we can really see that the real response and not something that they were ready for before the interview. So in your case, you asked that strange question, and they really need to think and say that, let's say, strange thing or something out of the blue from the heart is coming.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, it's also very important to mention that it's so important not to over scout, because you know, when you over scout a player, you try to find that, how to say, ideal model. It will not happen. It's not true. None of us are ideal, let's say this. And as my mentor, the great basketball executive Mauricio Gherardini told me, I have to be pragmatic. And first of all, you have to see the simple thing. Can he play at this level or he cannot? If the answer is yes, then I go, can he accept the role that we see him? Because roles are also extremely important in the team's picture, or he cannot. If those two things are, let's say, yes, let's check him as a teammate. Can he fit as a guy in our environment, in the city that team is, in you know, can he play for that coach with that mentality? And if you have those three yes, then you can go to deeper scouting.
And
How he can play defense, how he can, you know, help the team, what are his weak spots. Let's go deeper about him as a human and so on. But if you have those three yes, that's fine.
and
You
for
can go further.
and for young players, do you do also this kind of, let's say, basketball and human side of scouting, or it's not so
Yeah,
deep?
sure. No, sure. Just, you know, the thing is that, okay, if we sign a very young guy, let's say, I trust my locker room. I trust the core of the team that if something will be bad, they will teach him how to do it good. That's simple. Because those veterans that we have, I think they're doing a great job of that. Just giving, you know, giving those values that are going from year to year, you know. So,
Do you often meet or see young players who know what professionalism is? That showing up early or doing the warm-ups or like communication with the club, attitude to the training process, and
you know, we didn't have that much that I could say that I'm, you know, meeting a lot of young players. We didn't have that much, but okay, first example for me, you know, the young guy comes and asks me, can I come 1 hour, 30 minutes before the practice for warm up? I say, do you really need this? Just ask the coach what would be the best for you, you know, how much time before the practice you can work like individually and then start the team practice. So, you know, there are some examples, but you know, we didn't have that much, you know, of youngsters that like commented so deep.
and have just curious, but if the player is so good, the young, let's say, player is so good, but he has poor attitude. Maybe he's always like blaming others on the court when you're watching the games, or poor communication also with the teammates or with the coaches. Have you ever had experience, or maybe you heard about that someone is very good, but because of that off court or not basketball, kind of basketball, not related things, that he could not move forward?
Yeah, for sure there are examples. In our case, I don't remember one, to be honest. But you know, the young person, if he feels that, he gets more attention than a regular guy, if, everybody talks about him, TV, media, whatever, it can be a problem, but it's also a process that the player has to go through. And he has to go through with the support of the surrounding, which is around him. So, as we talked, you need a good people around you to just to, to develop. That's a part of that.
Yes, yes. I think, as you said, like that when we are talking about, you have much more experience in this, but when we are talking about young players signing, everyone think about basketball only. Of course, that's, as you said, your mentor said, that's the first question. Can he play at this level? But on the other hand, it's also important that off-court things that they do not pay attention. Maybe they are not good teammates, and maybe that will not that will be a negative thing for him to sign, because you, for example, in this case, you would see that he's playing well, but the attitude towards the teammates is so terrible. He is not, let's say, passing the ball. He's shouting on the teammates. Maybe they're not that good as he is, but that's why I always would like to see that holistic, I mean, maybe because they're young, but holistic approach to the basketball.
Imagine I was scouting a player who was averaging 14 assists per game, 14 in the top league, but the teammates were not happy to play with him
And you got
because
that
of
to
his
know.
behavior.
So you talked with the teammates, and that's how you
Yeah,
found it?
it was a conversation with one of his teammates, with the coach. I don't remember, maybe sports director, whatever. It was 2, 3 years ago. But he was a magician on the court, really. And he was playing for the team, but the teammates didn't want to play with him
Yes,
because what's happening off the court. So,
yes,
good example.
yes. Very good, because then it just sets the tone, or maybe, let's say, puts the bullet point at the end of the sentence. What I mean, its conversation is ending here. If you think only basketball will get you to the highest league, no. Dot.
No, for sure, no. For sure, no.
Yes.
I mean, there are some organizations maybe that care just only about basketball, but in my case, I don't think so.
Yes. Before we move to the last part, I was reading through information. First of all, I'm sorry that I messed up with the researching at the beginning, but I read your about your travel to the USA, and I really liked that comparison between how you wrote about the NBA and Europe. So could you please also say a little bit what stood out for you when you went there and when you wrote that reflective post?
Starting from the beginning, I try to use every FIBA window to travel somewhere, to travel to mostly EuroLeague organizations, because when the FIBA windows start for us, the EuroLeague doesn't stop. So, it's a good timing for me. So I was visiting many EuroLeague teams, watching the process there, meeting people, watching games, and, talking to coaches, sports directors, team managers, whatever. And I really like that, but this year was different because in February, when the FIBA window started for us, the EuroLeague stopped also. So I was thinking, okay, maybe it's time for me to try something different. I was thinking about Japan, maybe, or the NBA, and somehow the idea was to go to visit NBA clubs and see how they work. To be very honest, I'm not the one who is like a fanatic of the NBA. I follow it, yes, but for sure my focus is on European basketball because of my duties of everything. But I didn't expect that I will like the NBA so much how I did get going there.
Hmm.
Uh, okay, everybody can talk about the facilities, everything, all the tools you have over there. That's true. It's different level, yes. But for me, let's say what I like the most, I like the communication over there. I like the how all the staff is involved into the practice processes, how everyone is responsible basically to be fit, to have the ability to step on the court as a coach and help them to do some exercises, to be energetic, to give basically his best, not only advising but also showing some things. And okay, I was there for 1 week, and I was privileged because it was after the All-Star game, so it was a break, and then when the teams came back after the break, they had some days to practice,
Hmm.
and I could see that process, which is not so not so often happening basically there. But I really like that. I really liked, as I said, the communication, all the staff work together, and of course, all the things around when you see the facilities, when you see the private cookers and all those kind of things, they impress you.
Yes.
But in general, all the machine.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I agree. Like they have so much of the different equipment. They have the coaching staff. They have in one of the seminars in EuroLeague strength conditioning coaches seminar, we always see some people from NBA and from Europe. And I remember the people were asking, the audience was asking the question, and if the question about, let's say, nutrition would come up, EuroLeague coaches would give their answers. An NBA coach would say, we have a private chef that cooks. And then if the sleep question would come up, EuroLeague coaches would say what they would do in that circumstance, and the NBA coach would would answer, we have a sleep expert that gives those advices, and the staff is
Yes,
much more bigger. Yes.
yes, much
Uh-huh.
more bigger, and the roles. It looks like every role is very important there. Just attention to the small details is big there.
Hmm.
So that's that is what really impressed me being there.
Yes. Okay, let's go to the last part. Last part are questions are, let's say, some are a little bit longer, some are shorter, but your answers can be anything from one word to as long as you wish. I'm changing this, how to say, this section every time just to see what will suit the best. So my question, and then you can, if you don't want to expand, you just say yes, no, and if you want to expand, you can expand more.
Can I say next?
I haven't thought about that, so not for this time. So,
Okay, let's
so
try.
what is the first thing you look for when scouting a player?
Size.
Size.
First of all, yeah, size, how he looks on the court, and then I move.
So the height, but also how the person look, like muscularity.
Yeah.
Yes.
First, the first thing that I pay attention is the
Yes.
size. I don't say it's critical, and I don't say that we cannot sign the point guard who's below 1 meter 80 centimeters. No, I'm not saying that.
Yes.
But the size is like The
Yes.
first thing I catch.
Yes. You probably answered this, but let's double check. What is better for a team? A talented player with bad attitude or average player with great character?
You know the answer.
Yes. Second option. Uh, is there a habit that you would like young players to develop? It can be on the court or off the court, but something that maybe you don't see often in the young players, but you would like them that they would develop.
I would say it's not a habit, but the thing that they have to take care of their studies. And I don't say they don't, but they have to. The more educated person is, I think, the more he can give on the court later also. If you have enough knowledge how to take care of your body, how to what to eat, how to rest, where to go, where not. If you have the wide attitude to everything, that's for me very important to be educated to also if there's an opportunity to when you travel to the I don't know, for example, Adidas EuroCamp and stay one day extra to see Italy, just for your own, development as a person. So,
Yes.
in my opinion, that's extremely important in life. So,
Yes. It's more than basketball.
yeah. I don't say you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice the basketball part for that. No,
Yes.
but sorry, I think that you are able to finish high school and in I don't know, maybe longer term study at the university and finish it. So that's for me, that's important, and I think it gives extra for you not only as a person but as a player as well.
I like it. I like it a lot. Next question. Do you ever check social media of a player when you are researching?
To be very honest, sometimes I forget. That's that's the I need to check a player who was playing, let's say, in Japan, so I somehow get the contact, the trustable contact of his, coach or sports director, and I do everything on my best, but sometimes I forget to check the Instagram, and after that I come back. But I do that, yeah,
Okay.
I do. So the content on the Instagram also shows a lot.
Yes. Yes. Last question. One thing that, or maybe a few, up to you, that makes you think this player will never make it.
Whew. So we will finish with the negative,
Uh, we can
negative side, yeah?
we can think about that. How you? Okay, but just answer if you have anything in your mind.
Okay, I don't want to judge actually. If the player's behavior is extremely bad as in the young age, yeah? Let's say he's drinking alcohol, smoking, I don't know, he doesn't care about everything. He still, I cannot say that he still cannot make it. I still think that okay, I will not take him, yeah, but I don't want to judge him and
Yes.
say that he will not achieve anything. Maybe he'll meet some person who will influence him, the mentor, whatever. There'll be some accident in life when he will realize that okay, if I want something more, I have to do this and this and don't do this and this. So I will not say that it's done deal, he will not make it. He will not make it when he will not make it. When he finishes playing, and then, you can say that he didn't. That's it.
Yes.
It's done. As a player, not as a human. As a human, he will not make it when he dies. That's
Yes.
also true.
Yes.
But to organize the funeral for the player before he finishes, I don't want.
Very well answered. However, we will not leave it on the on the negative side. So, what is the best moment for you in terms of not basketball, but professionally?
The
In
best
terms of like
moment,
in terms of basketball, but like as a sport director, what was the best moment in your career?
uh, to be very honest, I think the best moment for me was getting a chance. Uh, I can talk a lot what we won and what we didn't, but in general, the first idea that comes to my mind is that the president and the former general manager of the club, they took me from a regular job uh, and gave a chance to work in the club, in the sport of basketball that I always wanted. And I remember that feeling that, I know that now I have no excuses.
Hmm.
I I have the opportunity to do what I love and to prove that I can do that. Not be a fan of that, not say that, okay, I would like. No, now I have the opportunity. And to be honest, I don't remember myself uh, getting into tears of happiness, but that moment I was close to that actually, because everyone, in my opinion, deserves some kind of chance and opportunity. And then it's, depends on you. You use it or you don't.
Hmm.
And I still don't feel that I used it already. I still, think how I can be better. What can I do, and what if I would have to have some changes in my professional career? I still have doubts and I still don't feel good. Let's say I got this opportunity and I remember my first year it was like, something. Lots of new things to learn. The club was up and down, a lot of things. And I remember we had a player, Jamar Wilson. Jamar was the player who had many clubs in his career. He was very experienced, and our club was one of the last ones in his career. And we had a special relationship with him somehow. I don't know. We are still in contact, not so usual, not so often, but we are still. And I remember that season finished, and he said that, you know, I believe that one day you can be a great manager. He told me like this. And then I thought, hmm, I'm I was sacrificing a lot this year. I'm already not a bad one. But now when I think about myself when I was, like a freshman, let's say like this, in professional basketball, I understand that only after a few years I understood what direction we go, what should I do and what I shouldn't do. And if I see to myself after, I don't know, 10 years, maybe I would say the same about current myself. So,
Yes.
that opportunity that I got is the most important for me.
I believe many people could relate to what you are saying, regardless of their career. Because I was relating as a strength coach. I believe players, young players or older players listening, they can relate from their side to what you are going through or were and are like thinking process. So this is very, very well said. So to summarize, I always do three kind of key takeaways. So from the conversations, what we talked, so just let me know if it is on point. So number one would be that when the player is going somewhere, let's say to the either academy or professional club or to the USA, they need to think more broadly, talking about the young players. Broadly meaning first, as you said, check the human side and then also think about the basketball side. Then second thing would be that not only basketball is important, but how you behave on the court, how you respond to the coaches, to the players, what are the off-court habits that you have. And lastly, it's more than basketball, meaning you need to study. If you have a chance to travel. Also, basketball is part of that, what you will be doing. But I think these are the three takeaways that I took from this conversation.
I'm glad you were listening to me, not only asking questions, but really listening to me and heard what I want to say. So
yeah, so Lucas,
thank you for that.
Thank you for sharing these insights and these stories. When somebody shares a story, it really drives the message like home, that we understand that it can really happen. But if someone would like to follow your work or connect with you, what would be the best way to do that?
I think the LinkedIn.
Yes. Okay. So we'll
My
have
name and surname.
Yes, we'll put that in the show notes.
I'm not a player. I will not promote my Instagram, so it's more about professional network. So I think that
Yes.
everyone, if you have some I don't know, questions, whatever, you can text me, and most likely we will find the opportunity to talk basketball.
Yes. And then for everyone else, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and share this episode. That is the best way to support us. But for now, keep training basketball, body, and mind.